Hi, this is Danny Hicks live from the California State Home for the Bewildered, and you had better be listening to the Tim O and Harley Show.
Welcome to the Tim O and Harley Show.
Thank you for listening to the Tim O and Harley Show. I am Tim O. Over there is my partner in Mindcrime, Mr. Ben Harley. Say hello, Harley.
What is happening, people?
Ben, the Heartbreak Kid Harley. How the hell are you?
Good, Tim. How are you, buddy?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Let's see here. If you do hear some loud construction noises, I do not know exactly what's going on in my driveway, but we are still having it rocked.
Oh, nice.
So I think there's people out there doing a lot of rocking to my driveway. And I might rock the microphone a little bit, so I do apologize. Normally when we say this and I'm editing, listening to it back, none of this is audible for some reason. So, but it's certainly audible right now, and it is showing up on my meter. So I apologize. I ain't stopping them. I want my driveway done here at Dermal Ridge. So, but yeah, we're
coming along nicely over there. It looks like
it is. It is. We got. I'm about. I'd say I got about at least half, if not 2/3, of the stuff out of storage. So basically, our basement looks like we've lived here for 60 years right now.
Oh, really?
Because it's just shit thrown everywhere. I mean, everywhere. Yeah. But Harley, I thought about you the other day. We actually did put 2 tables and a chair with a cute little ashtray in the middle on our front porch. Just like 2 old timers. Yep.
Nice.
Yep, sure did.
Nice.
And then it was funny, too, because the other day I was loading some stuff in right around sunset. Right? You want to talk about a beautiful sunset. Ben Harley, I have seen the sunset from Hawaii. I've seen the sunset from Jamaica. I've seen the sunset. Well, I've seen the sun hang around for days in Alaska. I've seen just about anything, but it is a beautiful sunset here at Dermal Ridge because it goes right over. Basically, it does look like a ridge. I mean, there's basically all trees, and there's this nice scoop in the center. So it almost looks like a perfect painting when you're sitting in the back, and then the sun sets right in that dip, right in that scoop, right over the trees and stuff. And it's really neat looking. It's nice, really pretty. But it's been interesting out here. It's been fun. Still trying to get settled in, Ben Harley. It's a little stressful, but
I can imagine, buddy. But yeah, it's nice that you guys are there, and you're finding out new stuff about the place.
Yeah,
and it's that's just going to be fun. And then once the spring hits and you get the leaves on the trees and all that, you see there's a creek there too, right, Tim?
There's like a little stream down at the bottom of we're on a big ridge, we're on a big hill. It really is a Dermal Ridge, and there is a stream that is down at the bottom. But I think it's one of those streams that's more of a natural runoff. So like I noticed the stream going the other day because we've had a few inches of rain. So like when it's wet and when it's been raining, there's a little bit of a trickle in a stream down there, but I wouldn't call it even a creek really. Just more of a little creek, a little stream, kind of going through there. But it does run into a bigger one. Now our old land that we were going to build on, the land we sold, that had a creek that was an actual important waterway between other water sources. That was Prairie du Pont Creek. So that was a legit creek. I mean, that would flood and stuff. This is just a little bit more of a stream. But you know what, Ben? I need to go down there and explore. I really haven't had a chance to explore the woods a whole lot. So I'm going to have to get on that. So you're going to have to come. You're going to have to come to St. Louis. We're going to have to explore the woods.
Oh, that'd be fun, actually. I mean,
yep. Of course, we could just explore them by looking at them from off the balcony, which I've done so far.
That too, yeah. There's always that.
Yeah, but also did have some chance, Ben Harley. Have been watching a few things. Let's run through what I've watched this week. Sitting out in that sunroom, like it's like a Four Seasons room. Set a little TV up out there and got me a snooty antenna. Been watching some stuff. One of the things I watched, Ben Harley, on the snooty antenna in the sunroom was Svengoolie had terror out of the sky.
Yeah, with Dan Haggerty.
Dan Haggerty, a sequel to The Savage Bees.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So we had Dan Haggerty, Ephraim Zimbalist Jr., who is usually riffed on Mystery Science Theater.
Yeah.
He's usually a name they throw out there as a joke. And the guy that played Norris in The Thing. Was in it too. Yeah. So not too bad. Good. It's okay. I know you've seen this before if you didn't catch it Saturday night. I know you've seen it before. It was one of those made-for-TV movie. It's a made-for-TV sequel, for crying out loud.
Sequel.
Yeah.
So. That doesn't happen very often, does it?
No, it doesn't. But not too bad. Kind of fun. Kind of fun to sit there and watch that. Angio and I, we got we get those snooty wine bottles, right?
Yeah.
So we had a film noir wine bottle. So I decided to pull out from it's either 30 or 31. Okay. Edward G. Robinson and Little Caesar. So, yeah, old gangster movie. Kind of noted as, I guess, one of the first of 2 or 3 like real gangster movies in that era that really set off that whole trend.
Genre.
Yeah, gangster movies back then. Yeah, so that was one pretty good. It's old. A lot of things had been ripped off so many times that you watch this movie now and it seems like it's kind of ho-hum. But that has a lot more to do with the fact that it's been ripped off for 100 years almost.
Yeah.
But it's got, Edward G. Robinson and Douglas Fairbanks Jr. from Ghost Story.
There's no such things as... Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, nice. There's no such things as gangsters, though, are there, Tim?
No, not in real life, no.
All right,
There's no such thing. It's all fake. It's all fake. So,
I don't know. I know nothing, man.
Right. Let's see here. Another gangster movie that Angio and I watched, Ben Harley. You might have heard of this film.
Okay.
It was sort of popular, I believe, in the 70s, I think. It's a little flick that's called The Godfather.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, you have to check that out. Look it up. You might find it for rent somewhere. DVD Bob might have it on his table if you're not watching it. But of course, that's an intense movie. We didn't.
Sure is.
We've been kind of stressed and kind of, it's like we didn't really know what to watch. We watched so many scary movies, and we've watched a lot of Mystery Science Theater, which is great. I'm going to go through that here in a minute, but you got to kind of mix it up. And I just told Angie, I was like, you know what? If I don't, it's like when we're picking out movies reviews. Sometimes it's just a dart at the wall. If I don't pick this out now, we're never going to do it. Or if we don't do it, we're never going to because it don't sound good. Well, The Godfather is a great movie, but it's long. It's long.
It is a little bit. Isn't it?
So when you're sitting there at night at 10 o'clock wondering what to watch,
if you're drinking wine.
Yeah, too. Right, exactly. But we
now was there a wine that went along with The Godfather?
We actually had Crusher wine, Cabernet Sauvignon, but it wasn't for it. It was just something I bought at the store, so no, it wasn't a themed wine. Yeah, it worked fine. It worked real good actually. So, but
did you guys talk with New York accents or anything?
No.
Okay, all right.
I gave her an offer she couldn't refuse. So we had some fun watching that. So we the longer movies we do during the week and do 2-nighters, almost like a 2-part mini series. We create our own. Miniseries. Right. So that's kind of cool. Let's see here. Let's get to some. I just mentioned Mystery Science Theater. Let me let you in on this here. We did watch The Creeping Terror.
Oh, okay.
Mystery Science.
That was Mystery Science, not Riff Tracks. Right?
Mystery Science Theater. That's right. We have not watched a Riff Tracks for a little bit. They quit coming up on Amazon Prime. I do have some Riff Tracks on DVD, but we've seen a lot of the Riff Tracks more so than Mystery Science Theater. So Angie is probably the opposite of us, where Riff Tracks to her is a little bit more what comes to mind first. Whereas with us, it might be Mystery Science Theater. Right. And we really never watched a lot of the ones with Joel and stuff. So we're kind of getting into some of the older ones. They have Joel and everything. And I'm having a good time with it. It's not, I still don't think they're quite as funny, but they're still funny. And that, what's his name? Trace Ballet or Ballo or whatever his name is, the guy that did Crow. It was Dr. Forrester, back then. Yeah. I do like him a lot. I thought he was really funny. He was good. So we're having fun watching that. We did see that and The Pod People.
The Pod People.
So we watched The Pod People and we watched The Creeping Terror. So those are really awful movies, but they were fun to watch. Mystery Science Theater. I watched a couple flicks. I watched On Amazon Prime, let me give you a few Amazon Primes here. Let's do this.
Okay.
First up, Munger Road. I've seen this before. Okay.
Munger Road.
And I had seen it and I couldn't remember it very well. And it came up on Prime. I was on Instant Watcher and saw this up. I was like, what was that movie? Well, I'll just put it in my watch list so I can just check it out to see what it was, just so I can remember what it was. I ended up watching the whole thing. It's got Bruce Davison in it. Shot in a suburb of Chicago, St. Charles, Illinois. Interesting film about, it's basically a boogeyman coming back to town. And Bruce Davison plays the cop that remembers why he's a boogeyman. So it's a told story, a Michael Myers type of story of deal.
Okay.
But this one also has a Goon Road flavor to it, where you park at like a train trestle or train tracks, and then you get pushed up the hill. You ever heard of that? It's an optical illusion. When you turn the lights off, you sit train tracks, and your car gets supposedly pushed up a hill by ghosts or something. You ever heard this before? No, really. All right. Well, there's some kind of optical illusion that's on certain train tracks around the country, and they usually call them Goon Road or something like that. And if you park and put it in neutral, and turn your lights off, you get the sensation that your car is being pushed uphill when you could actually be going a little downhill a little bit. That makes sense to you at all? So it's kind of a joke or kind of a creepy thing that kids play each other. And it's so realistic when you're in it. It's nuts. But what some kids do is they put baking soda in the back of their bumpers so they can get the handprints and stuff. Kind of creepy shit. So there's a little bit of that. And at the same night these kids are doing this, then there's also a supposed return of a boogeyman. So I got kind of interested in this film again. I'm like, I remember this, and I remembered it. But I was like, kids can't remember where it went. You know, well, I tell you where it went. It went to a literal Ben Harley, like across the screen, to be continued.
Really?
It's a fucking movie. I'm like, what? And the movie was made like almost 10 years ago now. I got no answers. I got nothing for you. I got no idea what's going on.
Nothing.
It was literally the middle of the movie where maybe they would start trying to explain something. That's what it felt like. And it ended.
Wait a second.
Yeah. And look, until they make Munger Road 2, and they might have, I didn't look. I didn't care. I didn't see it. If they haven't made a Munger Road 2, wait. Because it'll just frustrate you. It's not bad. It's kind of interesting, you know, but So moving on. So, more on Amazon Prime here. We watched, or I watched, I should say, Demon Wind.
Demon Wind.
This was a VHS days movie that had like
it sounds familiar.
Yeah, it had a cover that probably sucked you in. I'll tell you what's really amazing. This movie has really held up as well as it was back then because it's just as horrible. It's just as horrible. It's sort of like a cross between Night of the Demons and Evil Dead. All right. Now, if you want to watch it for a clinic on how to fuck that up, be my guest because it's horrid. Horrible movie. Terrible. Terrible.
Yeah. What's it called again, Tim?
Demon Wind.
Yeah,
it's on Prime. Yeah, it's bad. I mean, it's just slow. The music is low in the background. There's nothing happening. It's a bunch of monsters telling you what they're about ready to do to the point where they forget what they're going to do, and it gives the people time to run. It's terrible. Just terrible. Also on Amazon Prime.
Like it
is terrible, yeah. Also on Amazon Prime from the Small Town Monsters crew who did the Minerva Monster.
Yeah.
They got a new flick up on there called Invasion on Chestnut Ridge. And it's a mashup of shit seen around Pennsylvania. We got UFOs, Bigfoot, Thunderbirds, everything in this area, in this ridge, this mountain range in Pennsylvania. And they did a documentary just about everything. I mean, so you have people telling stories about it's not real. You almost want them to break this up and do separate documentaries, but on a technical level for quality, they're getting better. It's getting better. Almost like we said, Brian Williams started making movies and they kept getting better and looking nicer and more competent and everything. And this is the same thing. These guys are on the same path. So I do like that. I did find it interesting. It wasn't bad. I just kind of wanted it more focused. Basically, Harley, it's kind of like dancing around your brain at a convention.
Okay.
You got a lot of cool things going on up there, but you need a little bit more focus.
Yeah.
Let's see here. This I watched on DVD. Got it from Netflix DVD. Watched Victor Crowley.
Is that the Hatchet?
Yeah, that's right? The fourth Hatchet movie.
I saw that. I wondered about that because I didn't hear nothing about it.
He did an event, like an anniversary event for Hatchet. Adam Green did, and he surprised the audience that he had actually created a new movie. No one knew. Wow. Nobody knew he did this.
Okay.
But the Oriental guy that's in all the movies, he either comes back as a twin brother or someone that was like, just looks like the other guy. He's still in it. And he has written a book about his experiences in the swamp. And they basically talk him into going back to the swamp for an interview, like a TV interview on like a talk show like Moesha or something like that.
Okay.
These talk shows. And it was kind of funny because his agent is played by Felissa Rose.
Okay.
So that's kind of funny. She's a good, I was thinking about she's a good agent type, like over the top and everything, So, but basically what happens is they're on a flight and the plane crashes in the swamp. So it's sort of like Victor Crowley attacking the fuselage of a plane, trying to draw the people out. So that's a little different. Yeah. Kind of a siege movie a little bit instead of just running through the woods as much. But it just, I don't know. It just kind of felt like it's sort of over. I mean, Kane did a good job as Victor Crowley. He's really good at that. Tiffany Shepis is in it. She's really good at this. Yeah, she's really good. Yeah. She actually is like one of the few people that plays it straight without a lot of like wink humor in it. But it's, it's okay. It just feels a little cheap. And just a little, maybe you shouldn't have went there. Maybe you shouldn't have done it. Maybe you should have let Sleeping Dogs lie. But apparently, George Romero convinced Adam Green to keep making these films because the horror community wants them. I think George Romero told him before he died that don't wait. Just make the movies. The horror community wants these movies. You're important to the horror community, basically passing a torch off to him. Wow. So he basically dedicated it to Romero and Wes Craven, who he was heavily influenced by and stuff. So I appreciate the movie. I just didn't think it was that great. Now, that being said, I've seen a lot of worse shit. So it's okay. I still really like the first Hatchet movie. I think it's awesome. Awesome. So it's all right. I'm not going to poop on it. I'm not going to poop on it. There's some good moments. I did laugh out loud a few times. Laugh out loud. There's a few funny moments. So, not super scary, but enjoyable. So good. And it's short. It's like an hour and 20 minutes long with credits. So it's very, that helps too. Yeah. And the Ben Harley,
for me, it's
right. The last and certainly not least, Mr. Ben Harley. I did tell you that last week, Angio and I watched the first Friday the 13th film, went back and watched that. So what do you think we did? We pulled out Friday the 13th, Part 2. Not like the regular guys. We pulled out Friday the 13th, Part 2.
Part 2.
Yes, Amy Steele and Steve Dash are pals in it. And it was one of those deals. We watched the first one, and I guess I thought I'd watched the second one with her real recently, but apparently I did not. So I think I might have watched it with Senior Danny Hicks. I think I might have watched a little bit with him because I think we were just hanging out with Steve Dash at a show. Yeah. And he was just, so he has to come to me. After he hangs out with somebody, he has to come to me for context. Basically, I'm like his assistant,
Sure.
So we had fun watching it, though. I'm going to tell you something here. We know, speaking of Kane Hodder, we know some of the guys that and a lot of people do, but we know the guys that play Jason, a lot of them.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but Steve Dash, and I'm not being a homer here, Steve Dash is by far the best Jason.
He is a good one.
I mean, he does more acting with that eye coming through the burlap sack. Than I think all the other Jasons combined. I honestly feel that way, that he does more acting with that that even like when Amy Steele gets him with the machete?
Yeah.
Or whatever. And he's rocking back and forth and his eyes going back and forth. I don't know, man. He's just really good in it. Really good.
I think so too. I think that movie itself for me, it made me like scared of Jason, like more than the other ones did. I just did all the way from the first, couple scenes, like when he puts Mother's head in the refrigerator.
Right.
And Adrian King opens it up and there it is, and then he's there. And it's just, I don't know, like, and then one of my favorite parts of any horror film of all time is part 2, where the sheriff's just driving down the road and then he runs across the road from one side of the woods to the other. And you only get a glimpse of it. But for some reason, to me, stuff like that, it's just scary. Like, oh shit, what the hell was that?
Right.
I think, what was that? Okay, you're the police, you're going to go chase it. But I mean, like, if I was driving, me and Timo were driving down there, I'd be a little scared, so. But for some reason, I mean, I just think that part 2, I don't know. I just liked that Jason. I like Steve Dash as Jason, I think,
a matter of fact, when we were watching it, that part you're talking about, I told Angio, I said, this is the part where it picks up. This is the part where everything went south when people watch this movie. I always try to explain to her, I was like, I think it's been forgotten with time, but nobody knew that this was going to be Jason.
No.
In this movie, you thought, well, was it another son? That's taking up for them. Jason was dead. It's interesting too that actually Tom Savini and Sean Cunningham didn't come on board for the sequel because of that. Really? Because they said Jason's dead. How are you going to do this? Well, it worked out pretty well for the franchise, actually.
I'd say so. Yeah.
Yeah, but I just, it could have just ended there at that movie, I think. I mean, it really could have just ended there. I just think it's a brilliant horror film. I'm telling you too, I'll put the last 15, 20 minutes of that movie up against anything. Yeah. Up against anything, Yeah. And that part, with the cop, that's what makes you start thinking, wait a minute, who is this out in the woods? Maybe it is Jason. And nothing besides that's ever revealed. And you're left after that movie thinking, oh, wow, it's just Jason. That's all there is to it. So I thought that was a cool twist on audiences back then, Yeah. So really, really enjoyed watching it. Always enjoy watching it.
Yeah, me too.
So it's just really good. And Amy Steele also, I think, is the best, quote, final girl in all of these Friday the 13th by far. The movie just has a lot more energy. She's the strongest actress, I think, out of all the, like I said, final girls and stuff. And Steve Dash is the best Jason. Just a great combination. Really good. Really good movie.
It's just a great movie. I know growing up, it did give me it reminded me of, The Town That Dreaded Sundown, which freaked me out as a kid. So going into part 2, I just, the whole bag on his head thing with one eye, it just was creepy to me. And so that helped. But I really enjoy part 2. I think it's a great movie. After a while, they started, this is when I was still scared of Friday the 13th.
Right.
You know what I mean? It held that feel for me, and then they started to become kind of just, I don't know,
cartoonish and comic bookish, like the Nightmare on Elm Street movies.
Yeah, exactly.
Much. Yeah,
exactly.
Well, the bag over the head, that was not a coincidence. I don't think. I think that was a direct influence on purpose to do that. And apparently too, I did some research, as I do when I'm watching a movie sometimes, and we're not the only people that think that this is where Friday the 13th really starts.
Really?
Yeah, okay. It's not that. And there's a lot of people out there that say this is the true first Friday the 13th movie. That first Friday the 13th movie, and I'm not trying to disrespect it. No, I'm just saying that it's a giallo movie. There's nothing, and the other ones are straight horror films, I think.
Yeah.
So that's my opinion. But what do you got, Ben Harley? I'm a little long-winded here. What you got?
Timo, I got lots of stuff. Hold on, let me see. Yeah, at first I didn't, but then I think I came across some stuff here.
You were watching stuff while I was babbling. I got you.
Let's see here, Tim. I've been going through on my Amazon quite a bit.
Cool.
Finding some stuff. I did find a little movie called Project Bigfoot. I don't know if you've seen this one. It's not bad. It's kind of I don't know. There's a lot of stuff when I watch some of these other movies that were made after we made ours. I don't know. But they mention the word stalking in it as well. Okay. And it's about a guy who wants to go out into the woods and he takes two of his friends and a girl, and they go out there and they're looking for Bigfoot. Well, they really can't find much, so he makes a bet with them that if they stay out there for 2 weeks, he'll give them each $1,000, and that they'll find Bigfoot. And it's kind of like a comedy more than a monster movie. I won't give the ending away, but it's a little weird. It's a little weird, but whatever. It is what it is. I can't remember the gentleman. There's only like one. It's funny, like the four main actors that are in it. It's like you've seen them before somewhere. I don't know if they're just character actors or, but this is a recent movie. Just I'd say within the last year or two, maybe it came out. Okay. But yeah, called Project Bigfoot. It's okay. It's all right. Give it a shot if you Okay. It might be something that you and Angie might enjoy. It's just more of a comedy, right, than anything. But it's okay. It's all right. Couple things here, Timo. I want to get on my soapbox about first off.
Get it out.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, let's get the mean stuff out of the way first, and we'll finish strong. Right. Yeah, Timo. Here's my soapbox. I'm gonna pull it out. All right. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna get up on it. It's a little.
Yeah, get up there.
A little shaky. Get okay. All right, here we go. All right. Okay, Timo. Me and my Marvel. We've been having problems. Me and Marvel. Right. And I like Marvel. I like Marvel Studios, blah, blah, blah. Right. Well, they are coming out with a little movie about possibly my favorite character ever. And it's a movie called Venom. Okay. I just heard about it. I just watched the trailer. The trailer doesn't show too much, but I guess one of my first issue with it is Tom Hardy's in it. Okay. I like Tom Hardy. I think Tom Hardy's awesome. Okay. Now, Tom Hardy was in Revenant. Great. Yep. Tom Hardy was also who, Timo? He played Bane. Max.
Oh, yeah.
He played Mad Max, and he also played Bane in the Batman movie. Right. So I can forgive that because he was wearing a jock strap on his face most of the time. So you really, whatever. Yeah. But yeah, Tom Hardy's going to be Venom. And I don't know. They showed some of the previews. They're taking some liberties with the story, whatever. I sure hope they don't screw it up. I just don't. Right. Now, I have a couple problems with the new Black Panther movie that just came out. Okay, Black Panther is a very low key action hero. Mm-hmm. Okay, I like Iron Fist, Timo, but is Iron Fist
I bring up Iron Fist all the time. Yeah.
Now, okay, this is my thing. Now they're out there talking about this Black Panther movie like it's the greatest movie that was ever made. And the guy here in Toledo that I've talked to you about, in the newspaper. Yeah. Oh, God, I want to punch him. One of these days, I'm going to catch it up with this guy. But, yeah, he's on there saying, this is the greatest movie since The Avengers, and The Avengers was the greatest movie since Iron Man. All these movies are Marvel ones that he's talking about. Not one DC movie. So you're going to tell me that The Watchmen's not a good movie? Mm-hmm. You're going to tell me that Batman The Dark Knight is not a good movie? Or any of these superhero movies that they've come out with? You're going to tell me that these other ones are so much superior. It's like, my thing is, get over yourself, first off, okay? Can we get over the fact that you're a Marvel nerd and that you like Marvel and Marvel? Now, my thing is, Timo, this is the last thing I'm going to say, and it's going to be mean, but this is it. As far as I'm concerned, if you've seen if you've seen one Marvel movie, you've seen about 75% of Marvel movies. They don't change much. Mm-hmm. They don't change. There's car chases. You know what I mean? There's a little bit of a fight here and there, but there's the same stuff over and over. And I'm sorry, I don't think that some of those movies this guy's mentioning, Iron Man, the first Iron Man, whoa, boy, yeah, that was just such a leap in fucking filming. Come on, man. I like Iron Man. I like... what's his face is playing Iron Man? Robert Downey Jr. Yeah, I like that guy. Yeah. I think he's great as Tony Stark. Yeah. Could you find a better person?
Yeah.
I like the Avengers. I like Captain America. I like all these. But it's just like, come on, people. Stop with I don't know. My thing is...
have you seen it yet? Let me ask you.
No. I saw the previews.
My brother
I saw the previews in the theater when I went and saw Star Wars.
My brother took a chance to go see it Friday night, but he gave it an A-.
Yeah.
So he liked it a lot, but he wasn't like doing handlebar flips and stuff like that. But he thought it was good. So I heard it was supposed to be pretty good. You know, I mean, but
yeah,
I'm sure it is. There's a lot of, I mean, there's a lot of reasons these days that people are saying movies are great as opposed to just being a great movie.
Yeah.
So it's just hard to cut through the BS anymore.
Well, that's my whole thing. And I'd take a guy outside and punch him in the lip if he said something bad about like Empire Strikes Back or Star Wars. But anymore, I'm becoming the person that I'm sitting there going, oh, crap. It's passed me by. Let me just tell you that. It's passed me by. My thing is now, if you screw up Venom, I've had it. I will never go see another Marvel movie ever again unless it's Iron Fist. Then I will go. Mm-hmm. Or Mysterio. And my thing is, though, Timo, a guy like Mysterio, a villain like Mysterio, who was in the original Sinister Six, which is of all the 6 baddest dudes that Spider-Man ever took on. But have you ever seen Mysterio in one of these movies? No. And if he does, they'll put him in some stupid ass costume and he'll be just some guy that Spider-Man knocks his fishbowl off his head and that's it. You know what I mean? It'll be something stupid. It won't be anything of any value or anything. You know what I mean? It's just like, to me, those movies are popcorn flicks. They are not serious movies that you're going to sit down and when you leave that theater, you're going to go, wow. Like, wow, I feel this movie. No, not these. You're just going in to watch a bunch of explosions and fight scenes and stuff like that. Give me something more. I know they're comic book characters, for fuck's sakes. They're wearing weird ass clothes, but show me something more. Give me something more. That's why I hate to keep going back to The Watchmen and stuff like that. But man, when I watched that movie, I felt that movie. I mean, just everything about it. Now, do I always want to see the villains or not the villains, but like the heroes being tortured souls all the time? No, not necessarily. I don't want a soap opera every time either. I do want some action and adventure, but I also want to feel something. These are iconic characters that are based on some of the most iconic stories of all time. You know, we're talking mythology and stuff like that. Now, does Zeus or Hades or any of these other guys that, you know, I mean, they're pretty powerful characters, right? Now, if I was making a movie about Zeus, I'm not going to take his thunderbolt and put something else in his hand because it's PC or whatever. I don't care. I want to feel these movies. Right. So my thing is, I've had it. And like I said, if this Venom thing, I don't know, Timo.
Are you aware that Netflix has an Iron Fist series?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
They do, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I was joking. I kind of make a joke because I think like when they made Ant-Man, and when they made like Guardians of the Galaxy, which to be frank with you, me personally, I thought Ant-Man and Guardians of the Galaxy were the best Marvel movies.
I love Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, I thought those were both like great. I thought they were really good movies, but I just kind of chuckled because I was like, these weren't exactly the ones when we were kids, the comic stores that people are clamoring.
No.
Especially like Guardians of the Galaxy was like, they were like a, I don't know,
Misfits, like
spin-off at best of something else, you know, but I always mentioned, I was like, well, next I told my brother, I said, next they're going to make an Iron Fist movie. And I said, as a matter of fact, I think I remember they were going to make an Iron Fist movie. My brother goes, actually, it's already in season 2 on Netflix. I'm like, oh my gosh. You know,
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have Netflix anymore.
Yeah, so. It doesn't, you know, at some point too, you just rent this stuff like on, you know, it comes out on DVD or something. Just
I'm sure it'll eventually come on one of these others. But yeah, I'm sorry. You know, every time a Marvel movie comes out, it's the greatest thing since Spartacus, or it's the greatest thing. You know, no, it's not. I've watched these movies; they're not all that you're. You know, I just don't try to listen to reviewers anymore because you're going to tell me that this last Star Wars movie was 5 stars. No, it wasn't 5 stars. You got me so excited. I go in there. I thought I was going in to see 2001: Space Odyssey or something. You know, and I get in there and I get what I get. You know, and,
right. Well, I don't know. Well, I kind of like the Marvel DC thing. People ask me about it. I'm going back to the comic books. The movies, to me, they all run together. I mean, there's some like,
you can't tell the reboot from the other thing.
Well, right now there's some movies like the Dark Knight movies. They stand out. They just stand out. I think Guardians of the Galaxy kind of stood out.
Oh,
you know, as a really good. Now I haven't seen the sequel.
Movie.
I haven't seen the sequel. I heard it wasn't as good, but I haven't seen it. Then I've heard other people say it's better, so I don't know. Yeah. But they don't like all the Avengers and what was Justice League, all this stuff, it kind of runs together for me in a little bit, because I think when people ask me, are you a Marvel or DC guy? I say Marvel. They don't understand. I'm not taking it that deep within my soul when I say it. Like, I'm not going to argue with you about it, because
it shouldn't be a Marvel DC thing. They're comic book heroes.
Right, exactly. And as far as the movies go, I think there's good DC and bad DC movies, and good Marvel movies and bad Marvel movies. And I don't really.
Well, Timo, this is what's coming to soon now. You watch. There'll be crossovers here real soon. And that's what they did in the comic books.
Yeah, they did. You're right. Yep.
So you're going to have Justice League and the Avengers, which whatever. Now, my thing is the last Justice League, the reason I didn't like, that's the first DC movie I haven't liked in a while.
I haven't seen it
because I thought it would be, you know why? Because it reminded me of the Marvel movie.
Oh,
it was just a popcorn, it's just, I don't know. Silly stuff. Silly stuff.
Yeah.
All right, let me get off my soapbox, Tim. It's no fun. Okay.
Yeah.
Real quick, Timo, I want to say thank you to the Toledo Walleye here in town. They did they've been doing Hockey Heritage weekends every year now, and then they started a Toledo Hockey Hall of Fame.
Okay. And
so every year they'll do someone from like the older teams and some from the new, you know what I mean? And some of the guys are still alive, some are,
right.
But yeah, they did something this last weekend, and they did the Toledo Gold Diggers, which, Timo, the Toledo Gold Diggers were the farm club of like the Minnesota North Stars when I was a kid. And they were here in Toledo from, I think 74. They were for about 10 years. They folded in 85. So about 11 seasons. They won Stanley Cups. Mike Eruzione from the Miracle on Ice, the captain of the U.S. 1980. He played for the Toledo Gold Diggers right before he went.
Oh, wow.
So to make a long story short, they did the Heritage Weekend where they wore the Toledo Gold Digger jerseys.
Nice.
And everything, the helmets, everything was just, right down to the, skates, everything. And it was really kind of cool. I got there to the game, and I was lucky enough to go with my oldest daughter and her boyfriend and his dad, and had a good time. But man, Tim, what a flashback without actually having a flashback.
Right.
So, when they came out on the ice and stuff, I thought I was 15 years old again. I was like, oh wow, and just to see their jerseys cruising around the ice and them playing, a couple times I seriously thought I was at a Toledo Gold Digger. You know what I mean? I was like, wow. But I really want to say thank you to them, because that brought back a lot of cool memories, and just, man, wow. Who
did you play for? Who did you get called up for?
The Toledo Storm. They were after the Gold Diggers.
Okay.
The Gold Diggers, they basically mothballed the team. Well, actually it folded, and then they came back a few years later with the Toledo Storm, but they were in a different league. They were a league below what the Gold Diggers were in. But actually now the ECHL is kind of like how the International League was back then. It's it's a big feeder league. A lot of guys come from, and there's a few guys that just went in the draft yesterday, that had played in Toledo that were sought after, started in Toledo, so it's kind of neat for us that we get to see some of these guys still, and you want them to go up. You don't want them to leave because they score goals and they're good, but then you're like, man, this guy, get him out of Toledo, get him up to the bigs.
Right. I wish,
but I want to say thanks.
That. I mean, football used to have like NFL Europe and the Arena League. Just forget that. That was just like a different game. It was like watching. It's a difference between pool and bumper pool or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I couldn't do, but I did like NFL Europe. I thought it was interesting, and I just miss. I don't like college football, so what do I do? What do I do? It's tough. It's so neat for like baseball and especially hockey. Hockey seems like it has lots of leagues. Things like that.
There's like three. There's your NHL, the American Hockey League, which is right below, and then you have the East Coast League, and then you have a bunch of different ones in Canada, like juniors for kids that you can only play until you're 18. You know what I mean? And then if you don't make it by then, you got to go somewhere else.
Right.
But what a really nice thing that they did there. So a lot of fun. All right, Timo. Two more things real quick.
Okay.
One being, I was watching, I said those trailers. They had a really neat trailer for a movie called The Last Movie Star.
Okay.
And it stars Burt Reynolds and then a couple other. And it looks kind of neat. It looks kind of like something that we look like if we befriended Burt Reynolds and brought him into a show like a Dick Hammer show. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And it just kind of shows, I don't know how much it's based in reality. I think they use some reality, they kind of mix it up.
Right.
Because he was kind of like, one of the last movie stars.
I ate lunch or dinner 6 feet away from him or something like that. It took everything in me not to do the Burt Reynolds or try to get something for you or do something, but I was like, man, the guy's eating.
Right, exactly. No. Yeah. So that looked kind of interesting. It looked kind of heartwarming and funny too, and I like Burt Reynolds. I do. I know there for a while he kind of went away, but once he came back, what was he in that striptease movie with Demi Moore? I thought he was awesome in that. He was such a weirdo.
He had Vaseline all over him, wiped all over him or something. Oil,
but he was
baby oil or something. Yeah,
and it was so funny because I'm like, good for him.
Yeah,
good for him to do something a little bit different too. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I think that kind of helped him a little again. And I like Burt Reynolds. I do. He's just one of them guys, like Clint Eastwood or some other, commands the screen. You feel like you grew up with them. Watching them.
He's Malone, for God's sake.
Yes. Come on. Are you kidding me?
Right.
Okay. Two last things, I guess, real fast. I did watch some riff tracks, Timo.
Okay.
Two really great ones. One called Rotor.
Yeah.
Now, I've never seen.
I've
never seen Rotor before, but I remember it from when we were younger and in the VHS store, and I never
pretty
bought
bad.
It.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is the mustached Android, right?
Yes.
Why would you put a mustache on an Android? Anyway, go ahead.
Oh my God, it's so funny because it's like at the beginning where they're showing him it's like what the robot looks without the skin. It's just the robot under there, like the exoskeleton or whatever. And it reminded me of some of those that Judas Priest video, one of them with like the weird animation or stop motion. Oh God, it's just so awful. And like the main character too in it, the main guy, like the main good guy, Clint Chisel Chest or whatever. It's so funny. He talks a lot in this movie, but he never moves his mouth. It's like it's just words are coming out of his mouth. But man, it was a good one. I'm glad I waited this long to see Rotor, and I'm glad I was able to see it.
Was that on Amazon?
On Riff Tracks. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I actually, before Rotor, which made me watch Rotor, I watched another little Riff Tracks called Radical Jack.
Oh, okay.
And Radical
Billy Ray
Jack
Cyrus
stars, yes. Yeah. One Billy Ray Achy Breaky Cyrus.
Yeah.
Wow. Man, I even felt bad for Billy Ray Cyrus.
Yeah, it's a bad one. Yeah.
God, it's so bad, but it's good, and it stars. I know Danny Hicks' buddy Buck Flowers is in it. Yeah, and I think there was one part in there, and it said, hey, Radical Jack. Billy Ray Cyrus was surrounded by people and guns, and they said to him, "I think you, in the position you are in right now, you have nothing to stand on, basically nothing to bargain with." And then I think the quote was, I think that's the same thing Miley said to Billy on her 18th birthday. Basically, take a look around you. You have no room to talk, or you have nothing. You have nothing. Goodbye.
Those are good ones. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was really good. And I tell you what, I've enjoyed them thoroughly.
Yeah.
It's been good for me to go and watch the Riff Tracks. There's a lot of really good ones out there. A lot of them I have seen here recently. But Radical Jack. I think I liked Radical Jack just a little bit more than Rotor. But Rotor, I
need to go back and see the Zindy the Swamp Boy one again. That one was pretty whack.
I just watched that.
Yeah, I need to go back. I think we might have to go back and watch that one again.
Oh.
Yeah. It's funny, too. Speaking of Mr. Danny Hicks.
Yeah.
I have been working on a Hicks season coming up here in the next couple of months. I'm just warning everybody. Let you know, I better quit doing that Hicks call. His head might come through the window here.
It might.
I am on a second floor now, not in the basement, so his head just come through. What do you want?
Yeah, what do you need?
Yeah, so was that all you got, Ben Harley?
That's all I got, Timo. Yeah, I'm sorry, my soapbox got a little tall today, and I got a little salty. But you're messing with stuff. You're messing with stuff that's real near and dear to my heart. And,
right.
I can't take I can't take it.
Right. Well, I get on a soapbox every now and then, so I can't complain. Can't do it. So let's get let's get to our official films, Mr. Ben Harley. Let's see. First up, from 1941. All right, we have the movie Man-Made Monster.
Yes, sir.
All right,
starring my dude.
That's right, Lon Chaney Jr. Let me get you a quick storyline here. Here we go. When a mad scientist transforms a carnival performer, Lon Chaney Jr., into a murderous monster, he creates a path of destruction, leading to an edge-of-your-seat climax. That's gross. Anyway, okay, this reminds me a lot of a really well-produced version of The Indestructible Man.
Wasn't he in that too?
Yes, he was, as a matter of fact. Yeah, about 20 years later. So it's got Lionel Atwill in it. Now, he's my dude. Yes. I like Lon Chaney Jr. as well.
Yeah.
But also, this movie supposedly is responsible for launching Chaney's horror career. It's supposedly like where he scored the Wolfman gig after doing this flick.
So this is before the Wolfman?
Yeah, it was before the Wolfman. Oh. Yeah. So basically, Chaney survives some kind of a electrocution accident. I never really, here's the thing, and I'm being honest here. Like, I really tried to pay attention to this movie pretty good because I even watched it twice a little bit. What was the accident that he survived?
I think that guy actually made the accident happen. That doctor to get him.
Really?
Wow. And then once he got him, then he started doing the experiments.
Man, they squeezed a lot of plot in like a 2-second snippet then, because
a little bit of Motel Hell type thing,
right.
Take your car out first.
All right. Well, it kills 5 other people, whatever Chaney survives, and Chaney used to be a carnival. Like they said, a carnival thing where he would basically he would do a bunch of Tesla stuff. He'd shock, electricity. I can't explain this right now. It's just, he did a lot of things with tricks. Let's put it that way. Frankenstein monster laboratory effect tricks through his body with electricity. Is that a good way of putting it? So he used to do that a lot. And then,
sideshow.
Right. So these scientists, Lionel Atwill and the other scientist dude, they're convinced that he's got like an immunity to electricity, possibly, I guess. Yeah. And then, and I guess apparently Lionel Atwill is they're two kind of mad scientists, and one's like a good cop, bad cop kind of guys.
Yeah.
And of course, Lionel Atwill is way more off his rocker. Now, he wants to control people with the radiation from electrons. That sounds really good in 1941, I guess. I'm not really sure about that. So they keep doing these experiments on Chaney and basically eventually turning him. It looks older. He keeps looking older and older. And basically they get him to the point where they can control him.
Yeah.
And he kills some dude. And then they basically force him to believe he did it.
Yeah.
And then they send him to the electric chair. Now, Ben Harley, that's when they sentenced him to the electric chair, I remember looking over to Angio going, well, that's not going to go well. Is it? I mean, it's like trying to put Johnny Storm, like burn him alive. Oh, what? You can't do that,
exactly.
So, now, I wasn't really in on this movie too much. It wasn't really kind of getting me. Now, once they put him into the electric chair, and he gets all ELO Eldorado album cover fingers, electricity shooting out of him and stuff, I started getting in. Basically, once he starts doing the ELO album cover thing shooting, I started getting involved. But then once they send him to the chair and he goes bonkers mad monster.
Yeah.
And then I was in. Then it got really good. And here's the other thing, Ben Harley. I sat there watching. I don't think I've seen it before.
Yeah, me either. Now, it's funny because upon watching it, I have seen scenes from this film before, but I had never seen, I don't think I've ever seen the whole thing. Because once he became, because he kind of looks like, it's mean a little bit, but he looks like the Tin Man a little bit without the helmet, or without a lid, like It's the same. I think it's the same exact suit. I swear to God. But basically, it doesn't protect his hands so he can use his hands. There's nothing on his hands, and then his head exposed or whatever. But yeah, I thought he looked pretty creepy though. Like once, in the suit and everything. I think they did a good job with the effects for the most part.
I do too.
I thought he looked pretty good.
Yeah,
I thought he looked pretty good.
When he goes all glow stick, the movie really picks up steam. I mean, it really does, and it becomes like an old Universal horror film. It gets a little bit German expressionism. You get the old kind of like outside dark trees and things like that. And I was really surprised. I kept thinking, I've never seen this. And now I think this is a movie where the first half drags a little bit. I was like, here we go. It's another Poverty Row movie. It's another Monogram movie or something like that. But man, once he gets all, like I said, once he goes all glow stick, man, it goes straight up Universal horror. And he just goes nuts. He just goes out there and goes crazy on everybody. Yeah.
And what's funny, Tim, is you say, not knowing that he got the Wolfman gig after this, there was one scene where he sits down and I'm like, man, he plays the best perplexed, down and out guy I've ever seen, ever. When he, you know what I mean? When he's like perplexed and stuff, you're like, you actually like really believe. And I'm like, well, maybe that's how he got it then. Because there is one scene, and it's not like bad acting or whatever, but you're like, man, that guy looks perplexed. And I can remember thinking in my mind, man, he does that good.
Oh, yeah.
And it is. It's that whole tortured soul, thing. Like, what am I going to do? I'm a monster. And, he plays that better than anybody. I just think he does. Maybe that's why he got pigeonholed in some of that stuff. But I thought it was a decent enough movie. Now the ending was a little, it kind of Blackensteined on me a little bit there, where I was expecting a little bit more, but that's okay. I think what happened to Timo, the suit he was in. So once they put him in the electric chair, he just he went bonkers. He was just completely. I think what it was, his body couldn't take all that.
They were basically overdoing it. Yeah,
and then the suit kept him alive, but once the suit got punctured or whatever, then all the energy went out from the suit.
Yeah, something like that. I was so perplexed as what I was seeing because I hadn't seen it before that. Yeah, some of the little finer points were getting past me, but I know when he went up to that barbed wire fence, they were worried about him. Puncturing that suit and stuff. But look, I think the makeup was really good. It was a very kind of creepy. Chaney looked creepy. Yeah, Chaney was pretty good in it, and that had to have been that old Frankenstein set, the electrode whatchamadoodles. Yeah. They had to get that from that same guy and stuff. But I was pretty impressed. I was not impressed with the first half of the film, but once it got going, I didn't know what was coming though. So I just kind of figures we've seen so many of these movies, especially with Chaney in them. Where it never really picks up steam. You just got a story there. You got to ride along with it, and you might get a little interesting ending. This really threw me for a loop. I was like, wow, that's a great last. I mean, it could be longer, the end. It could be more of the Chaney and Saney, kind of guy. But man, what a payoff. I mean, what a payoff. So I'm gonna give this movie, I can't believe it, but Man-Made Monster, great pay up. I think it was a good movie. I was a little taken by surprise by it, actually. Yeah, I'm gonna great bape up it too. I think, and this is a movie that, I'm always saying it could be shorter, but this one could have, like you say, could have been a little longer. Yeah, the end part, I think the only thing that I had a problem with the ending, I could have used a little bit more of an explosion or some kind of something to tie it together. But then again, it takes movies like this and other things that you don't always. And it's a little bit different. And I'll take it. Right. You know what I mean? Yep. So I'm going to give it a great bape up as well. I thought Chaney was good. And I'm glad that you told me that. I didn't know it was before the Wolfman. Yeah, it was right before the Wolfman. That's good enough. Yep. Cool. Good. All right. Excellent. Well, tortured. Poor old. Yeah. But you got Lionel Atwill in it too. I always like seeing him show up as a whack job. So. He was a jerk. Yeah, he was. He's a good dick. He was. Yeah. He totally, because you feel for Lon Chaney Jr. because he's kind of he's not a dummy, but he's a real
happy-go-lucky, fun guy who's a carnival, works for the carnival and loves his dog.
They're pulling his strings. They're pulling his strings. Yep.
And he's believing them. He's like, okay, well, this is, and they weren't helping him.
Right. Right. So very...
like that hasn't been told a million times how that story is.
Right. Let's get to our next official film, Mr. Ben Harley. We have, now this movie is on Amazon Prime. Okay, now this was one that I discovered after discovering the
Oily Maniac.
The Oily Maniac, yeah. This one is called Devil's Express.
Yeah.
From 1976. Now, I think the original title for this film was actually called Gang Wars. That's what it was called. Okay. Gang Wars. So
that's weird.
Let's see. Let me get out Movie Guy here and let me give you a storyline. Oh my God, there is a
good blurb.
There's a couple blurbs.
Good.
A couple post-art blurbs. You want to hear them?
Yes, I do.
All right, here's the first one. 50,000 years of death stalks the subways. Okay. Let's see. The other one says here, take the express train to terror. Okay. Let me get you
good stuff.
Yeah. Let's see here. Let's get out Movie Guy here and get a real short storyline, which won't tell anything about the movie. Here we go. All right.
Right.
A martial arts master takes on an evil demon that haunts the New York City subways. That's one plot point.
Yeah.
Yes, I don't know what the hell was going on in this movie. All right. I'm just going to put you right there. That was about all I knew. All I know is that it stars a one who, Ben Harley?
Warhawk, Tanzania.
That is.
And who else? Larry Fleischman.
Yeah.
Larry Fleischman.
Yep. So we have Warhawk, Tanzania, who I was just like, God, that guy kind of looks like Vincent Price with an afro sometimes.
Yes, yeah, he kind of does, dude.
So I guess what happens here is, all I know is that some old boy was on a boat, on a ship. Yeah. He gets attacked by a shadow demon and then gets turned into a bug-eyed blind zombie demon who waddles his way to New York.
Yeah. I love that part. Yeah. Because the guy, it seems like he's got his eyes. What they did is he's got his eyes closed and then they painted eyes on his eyelids.
Yeah. Well, I think what they did is they put. I think
so funny.
Yeah, I think what they did is they put the ping pong balls
in his eyes.
And then so when he would kind of open or close, the skin would fold over him a little bit. I'm pretty sure. But either way, this is what we're talking about. One of these two Three Stooges effects was happening.
Yeah.
And basically it's an Afro judo exploitation film.
Yes. Yeah.
Dolomite caliber acting.
Yeah.
Warhawk, Tanzania. I'm sorry, but he looks like the ladies' man, Tim Meadows.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the other thing too, did you notice? And I hate to go like we're going to jump around this movie. This maybe makes no sense at all. So did you happen to notice that in Warhawk, Tanzania's love nest, his bed, it appeared that he had severed ponytails as trophies on his wall from women he had bedded. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
Either that or he was a turkey hunter and those were the beards.
Yeah. I don't know what they were, but yeah, I did notice that.
I'm not sure.
Oh my God.
It really is an Afro judo exploitation. There is some Chinese exploitation, some black exploitation, kung fu. This is a ultimate exploitation film. I mean, everything is thrown up and put in a blender. Basically. And
there is some of the worst acting in this film.
Oh my God! And it was shot in Harlem. Okay, so I mean, I immediately we were watching. I was like, "That's Harlem." I know. I mean, been to New York quite a few times, and I knew that. But there's like these just weird things. It's like the rapist guy. Okay, there's a guy trying to rape a woman in the subway. All right, gets attacked by a monster and starts going, "Help me! Help
to the
me!
Girl that,
Why won't somebody help me?" Well, you just tried to rape her, you fool!
Yeah, seriously.
He's helping her.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, oh my God. The other thing,
did you notice who the one little guy in there was? The one, the priest guy. The priest with the goofy hair was?
No.
Remember in the
Burbs? Yeah.
My brother.
Yes. I did. Yes. Absolutely. Yeah, I remember that
I love that guy.
I do too. And here's the other point. There's like these moments that jumped out at me. The whole movie itself did not. It was like fucking terrible, but it was terrible in a weird, seedy New York 70s grindhouse cheeseball kind of way. And there like these lines that were written, like the instance, just that this line was even uttered in the film. Does this have something to do with China? He is in a Chinese like apothecary or something. He's like sitting there with this guy sitting Indian style, like a Chinese guy, bald guy, a monk, basically at his altar. And he says, does this have something to do with China? Yes! Yes, it has something to do with China. Okay. And that dude had the worst old man makeup ever. He looked like an Oriental mushroom.
It looked like a paper mache head. That, you know what it looked like? It looked like they put something on his face, you know, the makeup, and then it had a reaction to something else. And I felt bad for the guy. I'm like, man, get that off that guy's face. Yeah. I can imagine his face is probably melting. Yeah. Like, oh. God, that was like, it was hard to look at. It was so bad.
What kind of pot were they smoking back then where that looked right in the lighting? I mean, really, I'm just like, Jesus, I'm colorblind. It looked weird to me. You know, I'm like, gee, right. So, yes, basically, this is Tim Meadows, a ladies' man, versus a rotting subway demon zombie.
Yeah.
And then there's other kung fu wrestling around for no reason. Yeah, it doesn't seem like any reason at all. Now, Warhawk Tanzania is in a kung fu group, not unlike the kung fu group in the Mad Foxes.
Yeah, right.
Not at all unlike it, actually.
There's like, it's funny because it's basically, it's like centered around that demon coming to New York.
Right.
There's a gang war going on.
Right.
One of Warhawk Tanzania's little lackey, that little guy, I don't know. I can't even
little Hispanic friend.
I hate that guy. He's like the worst actor in the whole film. And he gets more camera time than anybody.
Right.
And he is awful. And it's like he's kind of running around doing stuff on the side that Warhawk doesn't know about, but then he's always getting into fights. And then it was funny too, because what made me laugh, Tim, as soon as it came on, and I had to text you, and it said Warhawk, starring Warhawk Tanzania.
Never a good start.
And Larry Fleischman. Yeah, I'm like, how could you, those two names, it was just like, all I could think about is Larry Fleischman, you know, like, or I just was laughing. I'm like, at that point I was like, I know I'm in there for a treat. I just know it, you know? And so, and it's funny because Larry Fleischman's in it quite a bit, but Larry Fleischman looks like Al Pacino. Yeah, he looks like Al Pacino's stunt double's cousin.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Right.
And and it's not like he's a real bad actor. He's actually okay, but they give him too much to say, and or he ad-libs some stuff that just is like, wait, what?
Right.
But it's just him and Warhawk, their relationship throughout the film is silly, and it's just like, I will say though, Timo, this washed out the bad taste of Blackenstein.
That's too bad.
I guess that's a poor analogy. I
Sure.
just put out there.
Right. At least a climax did.
Exactly.
I tell you, Warhawk Tanzania, his fighting trousers at the end. Boy, he had a super foo outfit on. I mean,
it was funny. I was like, he came straight from the set of Soul Train and went right into that fight. He's like, man, I gotta go. You know, I got a job to do or something. You know, so it was funny. Yeah. It was like, to fight that monster. And it did have some points where like, okay, so like he went down and fight the monster, and the monster took on different forms. Like it took on a form of his girlfriend, a form of that little nerdy Mexican guy, jerky guy.
Yeah.
And then, you know, it was just kind of cool. And then he had to fight the monster or whatever. But there wasn't much saving this movie. The only thing is, I said I enjoyed it for, this is definitely a Riff Tracks or Mystery Science worthy. I mean, I'm surprised it wasn't before, or I mean, they would have a field day with this.
Yeah, I mean, it might be, especially RiffTrax. Yeah. And there's stuff that we don't even know exists down there. They crank stuff out on their website. I don't even go to their website because it just depresses me because I would have to. Yeah. I mean, actually, you know what? I'm going to have to go and see if they have a subscription version to their site because I'd probably use that one. You know, I'd probably use it up a lot. I like to
donate. You say you've donated to them, right, Tim?
I'm going to. I'm going to start buying them off of Amazon once I get a few bucks to scrape. Once we get our feet settled here at the house, I'm going to start buying some of those.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I'm going to look. This movie was. I don't know what the hell's going on through half of it. We were talking through it and stuff, but it's that kind of movie. It's just a goofy movie. I told Angie, I said, look, I'm not going to try to figure the plot out. It's not worth it. It's like an Italian film. Just go with it. Just go with it and just let it happen and have fun with it. And it was fun because you were like just guffawed at what you were seeing. It was like a Miami Connection guffaw. Mm-hmm. You know, you were just like, what the hell? But I'm going to grape ape up the movie for the entertainment value of it. And I'm just, I mean, come on, Warhawk, Tanzania. Give me a break.
You know what, Timo? And I was at one time the king of Tanzania. I thought about
that. I was wondering if you should have named one of your wrestlers that.
Warhawk, Tanzania.
Warhawk, Tanzania, yeah.
I don't know who this dude is. I'm from Tanzania. No.
Well,
I'm going to give it a great ape up too, Tim. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I really did. I mean, now, is this something I'm going to want to go back and watch a bunch of times? No, probably not. But I mean, it was fun.
Right.
And it made up for Blackenstein because I was really disappointed at Blackenstein.
Right.
You know, I was. And this was so much more fun. Just, I mean, and it's awful. It's god awful.
Right.
But you know what? I love going back and watching the stuff from that time period, especially growing up in that time period. It's just funny.
Right.
It's just all the sights and sounds.
And these movies aren't like the really thick exploitation films. It's not like Shaft or something like that. This is more like it's a mishmash of black exploitation and kung fu.
Yeah.
Sort of like Blackenstein was a mishmash because it wasn't super like centric of any kind of, I don't know, person. It was just, they were just throwing a bunch of stuff together to make money at the box office. It's all this stuff was, you know. So, but it was fun. It was enjoyable to watch. It's not going to win any awards that I know, but it's funny, and I do hope to see it.
Worst acting award.
Yeah, I do hope to see it on RiffTrax sometime. But we got two very different grape apes up for both films this week. So for Devil's Express, aka Gang Wars, maybe that's why the movie didn't make any money, you know.
And it wasn't the Warriors, Timo.
No. I don't even think I don't even think that the extras in the Warriors were stars in this film. I think there was a little more. But and then Man-Made Monster had very different grape ape up. Really, and that one took me by surprise. So I was really, really pleased with that film. So
I'm a big Larry Fleischman fan.
I bet you are at this point. So all right, let's get out of here, Mr. Ben Harley. Until next week, stay spooky, and we'll talk to you then.
Keep it creepy, people.
You've been listening to the Tim O and Harley Show, brought to you by ScreenPrintingFactory.com, your affordable one-stop solution to all your screen printing needs.